Hey everyone, Goddess Mama here. I'm sitting here working on a staff and decided, this is a good time to kind of have a little bit of a chat while I take off some of this wood. I'm taking, got to get down to the meat. I want to get down to that part of it. So I'm taking all of the bark off. And sometimes what I do is I will soak it in water because that makes the bark a little easier to come off the stick. But today I'm just kind of got a box cutter and just kind of scraping some of this off, and pretty soon I'll go get some sand paper and I'll continue taking that other part off. But I thought this would be a good time to kind of chat about just what I see and what I feel about what's happening in the world right now, because I am just too excited. With all the downloads that I've been getting for the last year, and as I was saying, I have been I didn't say this on this one, but I said it on another one, been self-isolating for about a year and not doing it on purpose, just deciding more so that I want to be at home, and I'd find myself home for weeks at a time. And what it has done, has allowed me to actually really, really process a lot of things. And I don't listen to any news. I don't listen to any news because when I was about 8 years old, I remember, this is the funniest thing, I remember it was Christmas time. And I had recently heard that Santa Claus didn't exist. The kids were all talking about it, that was not real. And I still really wanted to believe in that. I really wanted to believe in that. I remember asking my parents, my mother, my stepdad, if it was real, and they told me yes. And then I was watching the news that night, my little 8-year-old self watching the news, and the newsman said, Santa Claus is flying over Fort Smith. This is a time when we lived in Arkansas. When I heard that, I knew it was true. Santa Claus existed because the newsman said that Santa Claus existed, so I know that it existed. Imagine my surprise when I stayed up all night long as a kid. I remember falling asleep and waking back up because I had to see how Santa Claus was going to get in our house, for one, because we didn't have a chimney. Imagine my surprise when the toys were there the next morning, but Santa Claus had not come. I had been vigilant. I was out in I was vigilant, okay? I was vigilant watching for Santa Claus out my window. And he didn't come, and when that happened, I remember something in me kind of cracked around newscaster. And I realized that the newsman can lie to me. And when I realized that the newsman can lie, then I realized that anybody could lie. And so fast forward that to what we have right now going on. We have this incredibly wonderful pandemic that nobody really knows anybody that has it. I've talked to it, I don't even want to get into the politics of it. I don't even want to get in. We consider that the politics of it. I don't know why. It's like it's politics if I say I don't believe that it's happening. Now, do I believe that there is something going on, that a virus is going on, a normal flu virus that goes on every year, that we have this go on? Yes. Do I think something's wrong when you shut a whole state down when you've got, 40 cases? Or I remember Florida shut down and I think they had one death. That just seems a little strange. It seems strange. And now I'm seeing the news that China's coming back, going back to work, 95% back up. Kind of went through pretty quickly. And we're still talking about having things shut down. Well, what I want to talk about is the reset that has happened. We've all been home. We all for a moment got to pause. The whole world paused. And on a galactic level, it was somebody pushed the off button to the old matrix. And so we are rebooting now. And those who would like to keep us in that, and what's interesting is for those who would do harm, those who have not had the people's best interest, those who have been holding resources from others, those who've been doing that, evil has an expiration date and their time is up. So the pandemic, the everybody shouting that the world is over and it's all ended. It did. It ended for them. It ended for them. And they have the loudest voice, being that they own all the newspapers. Y'all do know that only about 4 or 5 companies own almost all the media. So you're getting the same information everywhere. You're getting the same information. And we've seen that over and over again. And if you don't believe that, that's pretty easy to look up. I think I remember seeing something that Erykah Badu had done somebody had done a piece where they had pulled all these newscasters from all over the country saying the exact same thing. And then we want to go globally, you have that pretty much the same thing. Now I want y'all to check out who fell. Who fell? What y'all don't know, and this has been talked about for a long time in the galactic, there's some galactic stuff going on. So this is not just an Earth thing or a human thing. There is a lot of information going on here. And you have to look beyond those, turn the TV off and go into yourself and listen to your inner self. Allow your inner self to tell you what is going on here. Because this outward stuff is not the important stuff. This is not really what's happening. This is all smoke and mirrors. Look who fell. Look who closed themselves off first. You had China. You had Italy. You had England. Y'all really look at that. That's important. And I'm going to show a video, well, not show a video, but I want to put it in the comment section from David Wilcox. I've been following him for several years, and he's had some interesting stuff that I would feel into, and it would sound good, but for me, I had to tweak it a little bit. I had to tweak it with what my resources were telling me, what my inner self was telling me. And now it's finally coming on one accord. Now I'm really beginning to understand a lot of the stuff, the downloads that I have been getting over the years as we watch ourselves step into a new world. Y'all, don't hold on to the fear, because the fear is what the old world was about, and that will keep you in that. Now, if you want hell and bedlam and everything like that, you can have that. But the new world is here right now. We're standing in it. And all you have to do is open your eyes. And so basically, we've all been sent home by the universe to sit and process and take in our own information. Like I say, turn the TV off. Turn the news off. You don't want to be in the form of that anymore. You want another form. Let's create another form. Let's start bringing in, what is your imagination about how wonderful this can be? I am seeing so much beauty around me. I am seeing people being nicer to each other. People taking time out with each other. I have had more conversations on the telephone with people that in such a long time, I'm reaching out. So there's so much good coming out of this. So much good coming out of this. That we really, really, really have to listen to each other. Because we can't, it's a lot, and it's all good. Just stay on the good foot. Stay on the good foot. That's all there is. I am excited about the new world. I am excited about seeing you and engaging with you in the new world and the new processes in a world where the wealth is redistributed, because we're no longer thinking about money. We're looking at the resources of people. We're looking at how do we as a world create viable electricity and energy that works with Mother and not against her. I know recently, we had the 5G rollout. And one of the things that hit me with that 5G was, because I was worried about it at first, but I always know that everything works towards good, even when we can't see it and we can't know it. It's working toward good. And so the 5G, I thought about possibly, is that to help bring around the contrast in order for us to step into the new energy, in order for us to step into the energy of allowing our DNA strands to be reattached, reconfigured, allowing that to happen, allowing ourselves to expand. Because this is what this is. This is actually the great expansion. This is the great expansion. So, really looking at then what does that look like for you to expand into your more knowing, yourself, expand into that. And I'm telling you, meditation has saved my life. You know, meditating, walking in nature, being with your animal, your pet, being with your children. This is what this has allowed us all to come home to do. So don't sit in fear. Enjoy this downtime. You've been praying for this downtime. You've been asking for this, and the universe has given it to you so that we can reset, so we can walk out into the new world and knowing that we are protected and we're guided. So just be excited. Be excited. Like I say, this is the great expansion. We've been waiting on this for eons. We have been working toward this for eons and holding space for a planet, for Mother Earth to move into this. I don't know if y'all saw it, but a couple of years ago there was a whole bunch of stuff about how waters were being pulled from, people would go out and the whole lakes were gone and they didn't know what was going on, and Venice was drying up and they don't know what was going on. And I remember telling somebody, I said, oh my God, Mother Earth is taking the water in and clearing it. She's going to give it back. She's clearing the water. Lo and behold, and like I say, I don't watch news, but information comes to me when I need it. And somebody came to me just last week and said, did you know that Venice's water is back and it is the clearest it's ever been, and they have fish and dolphins in there? Of course, of course, of course. So the glaciers are melting. So the glaciers are melting. The glaciers are melting, and they're repopulating the water. They're oxygenating the water in a big way, and that it hasn't seen in eons, reintroducing particles and bacteria and stuff that has been locked in that ice for all these centuries. And what they don't tell you is that there's ice caps forming on the other side. There's ice caps beginning to form in other places. So they're not telling you that part. So just really pay attention to where you're getting your news. I like to look into a lot of different places, and some of the best places to look is definitely outside of the country. Americans, we don't get news. I've lived outside of America, and I've seen the news, and I've been able to compare the news that we get here with the news that I've gotten in another country, and it's very different. We're very much on lockdown here with media. We're very much so. So really listen to your heart. What is your heart saying? If you can remove that fear that someone else has programmed you with, if you could remove that fear, what is your heart saying? What is your heart saying? What is your energy saying? What are you seeing when you look out? I just hear quietness. It is so quiet. It's so beautiful. I'm hearing so many stories of people just reaffirming themselves, finding themselves because they had a moment to get off the treadmill. This is the great expansion, and you're here to witness it. We're all here. There's so many galactic beings here. There's so many amazing beings here to witness this big piece. So thank you for being here. Thank you for having your energy as a part of this collective to create this new. Thank you. We're all blessed. And I will continue working on this staff, and we'll see how it evolves. It'll be fun, and I'll share that with you. So I'm so glad to be able to share with you. Bye-bye.